Welcome, thrill seekers, ghost hunters, to British Hauntings, where we unravel the darkest mysteries and most spine-chilling tales from the shadows of the past. Tonight, we're diving into a story so eerie, it'll make your skin crawl straight from the haunted heart of America, but with a twist that'll feel right at home for our UK fans. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and join our legion of paranormal explorers. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a ghostly tale. Got a spooky story of your own? Drop it in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And if this video sends shivers down your spine, share it with your mates to spread the haunt. Right, enough chatter. Grab your torch, steady your nerves, and let's go start this video into the unknown. The night was heavy with late summer humidity, the kind that clings to your skin like a second shadow. Waverly Hills Sanatorium loomed ahead, its crumbling facade a jagged silhouette against the Louisville sky, lit only by a sickle moon. My friends Jake and Sarah had dared me to join them for an overnight ghost tour, some bucket list thrill for our college break. I wasn't a believer in ghosts, but the place's reputation, whispered about on Reddit threads and Ghost Hunters episodes, made my pulse quicken. Thousands had died here, they said, back when tuberculosis was a death sentence. The death tunnel alone, where bodies were carted away to hide the sanatorium's mortality rate, gave me chills just thinking about it. We signed waivers at the gate, the guide's flashlight bobbing as he led us through the sagging entrance. The air inside was stale, thick with the scent of mold and something metallic I couldn't place. Our group of 10 shuffled through cavernous halls, the guide droning on about the hospital's history. Overcrowded wards, experimental treatments, patients who never left. Jake nudged me, grinning. "You hear that, nurse? In room 502, hanged herself. Bet she's still here." I rolled my eyes, but my stomach twisted. The guide took us to the 4th floor where the children's ward once was. Moonlight filtered through broken windows, casting skeletal shadows of old bed frames. Sarah whispered she felt cold, though the air was swampy. Then we heard it, a soft giggle, like a kid playing hide and seek. Everyone froze. The guide smirked, saying it was probably the wind, but his eyes darted to the dark. I pulled out my phone, recording, hoping to catch nothing but static. Instead, my screen flickered, and for a split second, I swore I saw a small figure dart behind a rusted wheelchair. We moved to the 5th floor, room 502. The guide's voice dropped as he recounted the nurse's suicide in 1928, driven mad by despair or something worse. The room felt wrong, too still, like the air was holding its breath. Sarah clutched my arm, her nails digging in. "Do you smell that?" she hissed. It was faint, like antiseptic, mixed with decay. Then a low moan echoed down the hall. Not the wind, not a prank. It was human, or something trying to sound human. Jake, usually the loudmouth, went pale, his flashlight beam shaking. The guide led us toward the death tunnel next, a 500-foot chute sloping into the earth. The group was quiet now, no one joking. The tunnel was pitch black, the air damp and suffocating. Halfway through, my flashlight died, though I'd checked the batteries that morning. I fumbled forward, guided by Sarah's voice, when something brushed my neck, cold, deliberate, like fingers grazing skin. I spun around, but no one was behind me. The group was ahead, their lights distant. I called out, but my voice echoed back, warped, like someone else was mimicking me. At the tunnel's end, we emerged into a wooded clearing, hearts pounding. The guide counted heads. 9, not 10. Jake was gone. We shouted his name, searched the tunnel again, but he was nowhere. The guide radioed for help, his face grim. Hours later, as dawn broke, they found Jake curled up in room 502, mumbling about a woman in a white uniform who'd told him to stay. He wouldn't say more, but his eyes were hollow, like he'd seen something he couldn't unsee. We left Waverly Hills at sunrise, the sanatorium's silhouette fading in the rear view. My phone recording caught nothing but static, except for one moment, a faint whisper, clear as day, "Don't leave me." I haven't slept right since. Jake doesn't talk about it, and Sarah won't go near Louisville. Me, I still don't believe in ghosts, but I'll never set foot in that place again. The drive back to our Louisville hotel was silent, the kind of quiet that presses down on you like a weight. Sarah stared out the window, her reflection pale in the glass, while Jake slouched in the back seat, his hoodie pulled tight over his head. I kept my eyes on the road, but my hands shook on the wheel. The memory of that cold touch in the death tunnel, replaying like a bad song, stuck in my head. My phone sat in the cup told her. It screened dark, but I couldn't shake the whisper I'd heard on the recording. Don't leave me. I wanted to delete it, but something stopped me, like throwing it away would make it more real. Back at the hotel, we crashed in our shared room, too wired to sleep but too drained to talk. Around 3 a.m., I woke to Jake muttering in his sleep. Words I couldn't make out, but that sounded like a plea. Sarah was already up, sitting cross-legged on her bed, scrolling through her phone. "You see this?" she whispered, shoving the screen toward me. It was a local news article from 1973 about a maintenance worker at Waverly Hills who vanished during a shift. They found him days later, locked in a storage closet on the 5th floor, babbling about a woman in white who wouldn't let him go. I glanced at Jake, still mumbling, and my skin prickled. The next day, we tried to shake it off. We hit a diner, ordered greasy burgers, and pretended to be normal college kids. But Jake barely touched his food, his eyes darting to the corners of the room like he was waiting for something to step out of the shadows. "She was so clear," he finally said, voice low. "The nurse, she had these empty eyes, like she was hungry for something. Told me I belonged there." Sarah dropped her fork, and I felt my stomach lurch. I pressed him for more, but he clammed up, saying he just wanted to go home. That night, back at the hotel, things got worse. I woke to the sound of scratching, like nails on wood, coming from the wall behind my bed. Sarah heard it too, her eyes wide in the dark. We checked the room, the hallway. Nothing. Jake was out cold, but his hands were clenched into fists, knuckles white. When we shook him awake, he bolted upright, gasping, "She's here!" Before we could calm him, the room's lights flickered, and the air turned icy, like we'd stepped into a freezer. My phone, charging on the nightstand, lit up on its own. The recording from Waverly playing unprompted, "Don't leave me." Then a new voice, softer, angrier, "You're mine." We checked out at dawn, piling into the car and peeling out of Louisville like we were being chased. Jake swore he saw a figure in the hotel parking lot, a woman in a white dress, but Sarah and I didn't look back. On the highway, I deleted the recording, my hands shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. None of us spoke about it for weeks, but I couldn't stop dreaming of those halls, the giggle of a child, the moan in the dark. Sarah started sleeping with the lights on, and Jake, he's different now, quieter. He won't go near old buildings, won't even watch horror movies. Last week, I found an old photo of Waverly Hills online, one from the 1930s. In the background of a group shot of nurses, one stood out, her face blurred, her eyes too dark, her white uniform pristine, but somehow wrong. I showed it to Jake, and he went white, muttering, "That's her. I don't know what we brought back from that place, but sometimes, late at night, I hear that scratching again, faint, like it's waiting for me to listen." And I swear, just once, I caught a whiff of antiseptic and decay, right here in my apartment, 500 miles from Louisville. Weeks turned into months, but Waverly Hills clung to us like damp rot. I was back at college, cramming for midterms, trying to bury that night in Louisville under textbooks and cheap beer. But the dreams kept coming, those endless echoing halls, the giggle of a child morphing into a low guttural moan. I'd wake up sweating, checking my phone like it might start playing that cursed recording again. I hadn't told anyone outside our trio, not even my roommate, who'd laugh it off as a bad trip. But I knew better. Something had followed us. Sarah was struggling too. She'd text me late at night saying she kept hearing whispers in her dorm, always too faint to make out but close enough to raise the hairs on her neck. She'd started carrying a cross, though she wasn't religious, and avoided mirrors after swearing she saw a flicker of movement in one, a shadow that wasn't hers. Jake was worse. He'd dropped out of school, moved back to his parents' place in Ohio, and barely answered calls. When he did, his voice was flat, like he was reading a script. "I see her sometimes," he'd say, "in the corner of my room, just standing there." I didn't need to ask who. One night in October, I got a frantic call from Sarah. She'd been digging online, diving into forums about Waverly Hills, and found a thread buried on a sketchy paranormal site. Someone claiming to be a former tour guide posted about a pattern. Every few years, someone who visited the sanatorium would change. They'd grow distant, hear things, see things, then disappear. The thread had a grainy photo attached, a group shot from a 2010 tour. In the back, barely visible, was a woman in a white nurse's uniform, her face smudged like a bad exposure. Sarah's voice cracked as she sent me the image. "That's what Jake saw," she said. "I know it." I tried calling Jake, but his phone was off. His mom said he'd been sleepwalking, wandering wandering their backyard at night, muttering about staying with her. Desperate, I drove to Ohio, dragging Sarah with me. We found Jake at his parents' house, sitting in the dark, staring at a blank TV screen. His room reeked of that same antiseptic decay smell from Waverly. "She wants us back," he whispered, not looking at us. All of us. On his nightstand was a crumpled Polaroid I hadn't seen before, us in the death tunnel, our faces pale under the flashlight glow. Behind us, clear as day, was a figure in white, her hand resting on Jake's shoulder. Sarah screamed when she saw it, and I nearly dropped it. We hadn't taken any Polaroids that night. Jake just shook his head, saying, "She gave it to me." That's when the scratching started again, louder now, coming from the walls of his room. The lights flickered, and the air turned so cold our breath fogged. Sarah grabbed Jake's arm, yelling we had to leave, but he pulled away, eyes glassy. "She says you can't run," he murmured. Then the door slammed shut, locking from the outside. Panic hit like a freight train. I pounded on the door while Sarah fumbled with the window, but it wouldn't budge, like it was glued shut. The scratching grew frantic, circling us, and that voice, "You're mine," came from everywhere and nowhere, low and venomous. Jake just sat there, smiling faintly like he was already gone. Then silence. The door creaked open on its own, revealing an empty hallway. We dragged Jake out, his body limp, and peeled out of that house like it was on fire. We haven't gone back. Jake's with his family, under a doctor's care, but he's not the same. He doesn't talk about the nurse anymore, but he draws her. Sketches of a woman with hollow eyes, always in white, always watching. Sarah burned the Polaroid, but she swears she sees that figure in her dreams, beckoning her back to Louisville. Me, I keep my lights on now, check my locks twice, and avoid old buildings. But sometimes, in the quiet, I hear that scratching, faint but persistent, like it's carving its way closer. And last night in my mailbox, I found a single photo, a grainy shot of Waverly Hills' entrance with 3 figures standing in the doorway. It's us from that night. And behind us, her hand on my shoulder this time, is the nurse. And there you have it, folks, the bone-chilling tale of Waverly Hills Sanatorium, where the echoes of the past refuse to stay silent. That nurse in white, those scratches in the dark, are they just stories or something far more sinister? I'll let you decide. But one thing's certain, some places, like Waverly, hold on to you long after you've left.